talking to you about a big problem. Mike Webster, Kevin Turner, Frank Gifford, and Junior Seau. Now, what do you think all these players have in common? According to Nadia Kunak of CNN, these are just 4 of the 91 ex-NFL players that died years after retiring from long-term effects of head trauma. Essentially, they died from long-term effects of CTE, or more commonly known as concussions. According to Fox News, we have also seen 24 high school football players die recently of concussions. The NFL was even sued $765 million by over 18,000 ex-NFL players recently due to head trauma. It's clear that concussions are a big issue in the NFL and all of football, and they have not done enough to prevent them from occurring. So this issue was brought to more attention a couple of years ago when the movie Concussion was released. This movie stars Will Smith. He plays Dr. Bennett Amalu, and he studies the brain of a couple of ex-NFL players that died of head trauma. And he realizes that the reason they died years after retiring was due to concussions that were left untreated in the game. And the reason that they died sometimes was even because they took their own lives. So Will Smith actually tried to go up against the NFL and tell them that this is wrong. You have to focus more on player safety. But since the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business, they didn't listen to him. However, this did force the NFL to make it look as if they're trying to make some improvements. So, for example, they put $100 million into developing safer technology, including better field conditions like the turf, better helmets, so when the hit impacts you, it will have a less chance of a concussion, and medical research about concussions. So they also made some changes last season, but statistics show that they haven't really worked. So for example, they eliminated head-to-head hits, or helmet-to-helmet hits. They changed how far punt and kick returns are by 5 yards, which statistically showed to have a large number of concussions. And they also became more strict with the league's concussion protocol. High school football and college football also have this, but they take a lot of pride in it, and I have some other thoughts on it. I truly believe that the NFL could do a lot more to prevent concussions if they really want to, but here's the truth. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business. They're a huge entertainment market, and they just keep making more and more money. As long as they make money, I don't think they really care about player safety. Because, yes, they might be doing all these things, but the truth is, concussion numbers are only going up. I really think that everything's working, they keep making money, and all they want to do is make it look as if they're trying to prevent concussions and player safety. So first of all, some of these improvements that they made last season don't make sense. And as you see here, the concussion numbers have only increased in 2016 and 2015, 2016 from the previous 2 seasons. Like for example, eliminating head-to-head hits. In a game as fast as football, and a game as gruesome as football, when players go to tackle another player, they're not going for the head or going for the body. They just want to tackle the other player. And for punt and kick returns, which statistically showed to have a large number of concussions, they literally changed the distance 5 yards. And I don't see how 5 yards is going to prevent a concussion when players are running at speeds of over 20 miles per hour. And the concussion protocol, as I stated, the NFL made it stricter last season, but I truly think it's illegitimate, and here's why. So in the concussion protocol, if a player is suspected of taking a hard hit to the head, the referee is supposed to immediately stop the game. That player is then taken out of the game and goes to the sideline for, goes to the sideline for a medical examination. And in that medical examination, if it's determined that they don't have a concussion, they can go right back into the game. If it's determined that they do, they're taken out of the game, and they can't play the rest of that game. But here's the problem with that. First of all, even if it's determined that they don't have a concussion, concussions sometimes take a few hours or even a full day to actually show up in the brain. So yes, they might not have a concussion at that moment, But if they go right back into the game and take another hit to the head, it's going to increase the severity or chances of the long-term effects. And then even if they are taken out of the game, it's said that they do have a concussion. I see players all the time play next week, the week after, and concussions are actually supposed to take 3 months to heal. So if a player goes back the next week and takes another tough hit to the head, once again, it's going to increase the effects of long-term effects. So pretty recently, a high school football player named Kenny Buoy died of a concussion. He was in a game, took a tough hit to the head, and they stopped the game. They took him out, and he was only out for 2 weeks. And as I stated, it takes 3 months for the concussion to fully heal. So he went back to play 2 weeks later, and he took a tough hit to the head. 3 days later, he died in the hospital. So in these 2 videos, I'm just going to show you a couple of tough hits that players took last season in which they weren't even, the referee doesn't stop the game in one of them. And one of them is only taken out for 1 play. One of them isn't even taken out at all.
And the NFL is under fire after Rams quarterback Case Keenum suffered a concussion but stayed in the game.
As you see here, he takes a tough hit to the ground. It doesn't necessarily have to be a tough hit to the head. So this is just more to show about how the concussion protocol is illegitimate. The referee doesn't even stop the game here.
Unsteady. The game was never stopped.
Second and 9. Good play action forward.
And this he's taken out for 1 play, and he goes right back into the game. And this is when the protocol got stricter.
Underneath.
Yep, hit him right in the chin. I mean, really.
So another thing is that players, if they have an injury, they're supposed to immediately tell the team, and the team is supposed to realize. So if a player hides an injury or a team hides an injury, they're supposed to get